There's a moment in every person's life when the world becomes quiet, the noise disappears, the distractions fade, and suddenly you hear something within you that you haven't heard for years. A whisper, a pull, a reminder that your life could be more. Today, I want to talk about a rule so simple, so small, that it almost feels unbelievable. A rule that doesn't demand perfection, doesn't require talent, doesn't need motivation. Just 1%. The 1% rule that changes everything. The beginning of every great story. Every great journey you've ever heard of, every legend, every success story, started the same way. Not with applause, not with inspiration, not with confidence, but with one small decision, one small step, one small improvement, 1%. The world glorifies big transformations. People talk about overnight success, rare talent, genius-level breakthroughs. But the truth is far more cinematic, far more human. Your life changes in the moments nobody sees. In the mornings when you get up, even though you're tired. In the nights when you keep going, even though you feel like breaking. In the seconds when you choose discipline over comfort, growth over excuses, direction over distraction. The 1% rule isn't about being the best. It's about being better than yesterday. Just a little. Just 1 inch. Just one choice. Every day. The math of miracles. People underestimate the power of small improvements. But think about this. If you improve just 1% every day for a year, do you know what happens? You don't become 100% better. You become 37 times better. Not 37%. 37 times. This is not motivation. This is mathematics. And if falling by 1% each day, you don't become half as good. You become close to 0. Small changes compound. Slowly first, then suddenly. Like a seed growing underground. Invisible, until one day a leaf appears. Then a branch, then a forest. Change is silent before it is visible. That's why people quit too early. That's why people lose hope. They improve a little, but see no difference. So they think it's not working. But progress is like gravity. It always wins, if you stay long enough. The moment you realize it's you against you, you'll eventually learn that life is not a race against others. Not against your friends, not your coworkers, not strangers on social media. It's simply you versus yesterday's you. Think about it. You don't need to be faster than everyone. You don't need to be stronger than everyone. You don't need to be smarter than everyone. You only need one thing: to be slightly better than you were. That's it. That's the rule. That's the path. And once you embrace this, life becomes lighter. Goals become clearer. Consistency becomes possible. Because you realize you don't need to win today. You just need to make today 1% better. The scene of a transformation. Picture this: a person standing at the bottom of a mountain. The peak is covered in fog. The path is invisible. The climb looks impossible. This is you. This is your life. This is your dream. And here's the truth. You don't climb that mountain in one leap. You don't conquer it in a day. You climb it one step at a time. 1 hour, one decision, one choice, 1%. Every step feels small. Every step feels insignificant. But inch by inch, the mountain shifts beneath your feet. The peak gets closer. Your breath gets stronger. Your legs get firmer. Your belief becomes unshakable. And someday, without realizing it, you look back and see how far you've come. Not because of one giant moment, but because of thousands of tiny ones. Moments so small, you almost forgot them. But the mountain remembers. Your future remembers. Your story remembers. The 1% moments that change a life. Let me show you how simple 1% looks in real life. Reading 1 page a day. Learning 1 new word. Saving a small amount. Drinking 1 more glass of water. Doing 1 more push-up. Writing 1 paragraph. Waking up 10 minutes earlier. Reducing 5 minutes of screen time. Choosing 1 healthy meal. Speaking 1 kind sentence. Practicing 1 uncomfortable skill. Breaking 1 bad habit by 1%. You see, the 1% rule isn't about being extraordinary. It's about building a life where improvement becomes your identity. You start expecting more from yourself, not under pressure, but out of purpose.
When everything feels hard. Let me be honest. There will be days when you can't even find that 1%. Days when your mind feels heavy, your energy feels empty, your confidence disappears, your motivation dies. And that's okay, because the 1% rule has a secret. On the hardest days, your 1% can simply be not giving up, not quitting, not walking away, not destroying your progress. Sometimes surviving the day is your improvement. Sometimes just holding on is growth. The 1% rule doesn't demand strength. It rewards effort, even small effort, even imperfect effort, even broken effort. The compound effect of belief. Every time you improve by 1%, you send a message to your brain. I can do this. I'm capable. I'm improving. I'm becoming stronger. Slowly, your identity starts to shift. You stop trying to become someone new. You start becoming someone true. And every 1% you invest builds confidence. Not from motivation, but from evidence. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you're capable. Evidence that you keep your promises. This is how belief is built, not in big moments, but in small daily victories. The scene where you choose your future. Close your eyes. Imagine your future 1 year from now. Imagine a version of you who improved 1% every day. A version that stayed consistent, disciplined, focused,
patient, a version of you who didn't quit when it got hard, who didn't collapse when tired, who didn't give up when slow. Imagine how that version stands, how they speak, how they think, how they handle challenges, how they walk into a room, how they move through life. This version of you feels like a hero, not because they did something massive, but because they did something small, again and again and again. Now imagine the opposite version, the one who gave up each day by 1%, unnoticed, unseen, uncared for. Which person do you want to become? Which story do you want to live? Which version of you deserves to survive? The answer is simple, and you know it, but the decision must be made today, right now, in this moment. The power of starting small. People fail because they start too big, goals too heavy, expectations too unrealistic. But small steps, small improvements, little wins, they are sustainable, achievable, repeatable. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to change everything. You just need one tiny step. Because once you master the art of small improvement, you become unstoppable. Consistency beats intensity. Daily progress beats rare perfection. 1% beats 100% effort once a month. Small is powerful. Small is possible. Small is where greatness hides. The final message. Your turn. Let me leave you with this. The 1% rule is not a trick, not a strategy, not a theory. It's a promise. A promise that your life can change by changing just a little, regularly, quietly, patiently. You don't need a breakthrough. You don't need a miracle. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You don't need perfection. You need one thing: to show up today and make life just 1% better than yesterday. If you do this, your future will transform. Your mind will sharpen. Your confidence will rise. Your habits will strengthen. Your dreams will move closer. Your life will elevate. This is the 1% rule. This is how everything changes. This is how you change. Not by force, but by consistency. Not by greatness, but by discipline. Not all at once, but little by little, every single day. Because success is never one giant moment. Success is 1,000 silent ones. And starting today, you only have one job: be 1% better.